Welcome, my library friends. I'm Mayor Bill Gillespie. We're down here in downtown Prattville at the Creekside Pocket Park. So I want to welcome y'all today as we get ready to read The Pout Pout Fish, Far Far From Home. I want to say a special thank you to Barbara with the Prattville Library, also Deborah Dyson, she is the author of this, but also the Macmillan Group for publishing this book as well. So let's get ready for our journey with this book. You know, it's I don't know about you guys, but I've taken many trips. Been far away from home, and it's always good to go with the ones you love, to be able to come back home. So let's get into this book and see exactly what we learned from it today. But we'll start with the cover page. It says, Mr. Fish has prepped and packed, and he's made big plans to roam. He's ready for adventure on his trip away from home. But sometimes trips have detours, and not everything goes right. Will missing someone special end his fun the first night? Swim along with Mr. Fish as he explores new places and meets new friends. He might just learn that a few bumps along the way are all part of the journey, and then love doesn't have to be packed. It travels with you always. So as we move right on into the book, it starts off, Mr. Fish sent off for flyers, and he studied each location. Then he picked the perfect place for his very first vacation. You see him looking through the book right here. He's taking his time and doing his due diligence. He goes on and says, amazing sights to see and only one day's journey there. So he planned and he prepped and he packed his bags with care. And then he says, I am a fish who'd like to travel. I'm a fish who'd like to roam. And I'm ready for adventure on my trip away from home. He started bright and early, feeling fresh and fishy fine, and his trip was going great till he came across a sea cuber crossing there. But then till a flashing orange sign, may I help you? Asked the ray. Do you need a local map? There's an easy way around it. You can be there in a snap, he said. Mr. Fish said thanks, and he started off anew. The route he maneuvered had a marvelous view. Look at all the different colors and everything else in there. Isn't that a great picture? And also on the side of his suitcase over here is Snuggly's traveling case. Wonder what all he has in it. But he goes on and says, I'm a fish who loves to travel. I'm a fish who loves to roam. And I'm having an adventure on my trip away from home. He circled around the roundabout and soon was back on track, and his trip was going great until he reached for his snack. Look at that, all the sea chips and everything. And then we have a guy over here that says, may I help? Asked Neil. Do you need a place to eat? There's a briny good dinner on the very next street. We move along, it says, Mr. Fish said thanks, and he quickly found the place. Their favorable creations put a smile on his face. He goes on again, like we always like to say, I'm a fish who loves to travel, and I'm a fish who loves to roam. I'm having an adventure on my trip away from home. Look how everybody's enjoying everything, just like we are in downtown Prattville today. But as we move on along, he says, refreshed and full of zest, Mr. Fish hit the road, and his trip was going great. Till a bump jarred his load. Look at that. He had a little bump in the road and jarred his whole suitcase and everything. So along comes a Mr. Crab, and he says, may I help? Asked the crab. Seems your luggage overflowed. There's a rest stop ahead. We can re-secure your load. Wasn't that sort of friendly advice of his and everything? But look at the mess they have created. Moving right on along, Mr. Fish said thanks, and they handled the repair. His day had been exhausting, but the end was nearly there. So we go back to our phrase right here, which is, I'm a fish who loves to travel, I'm a fish who loves to roam, and I'm having an adventure on my trip away from home. He finally reached the lodge, found his room and got unpacked, and his trip was going great until he saw what he lacked. Look, his box is empty over here. He says, oh, I really thought I brought it, and his heart beat faster. Has anybody ever felt like that? I know I have from time to time. He says, I forgot my snoozy snuggly. My vacation's a disaster. And look at the shock and dismay on his face. He says, I don't like to travel and I don't like to roam. This is not a great adventure. I just want to go home. Oh, look at that. He misses everything there. Then he just felt sad and dreary and weary, and all plans were falling through. But it come so far. Was there something he could do? Pout pout fish he is. He took a deep breath. It soothed his commotion. A thought reached out all the way across the ocean. I miss you very much. I don't like that we're apart, but until we back together, I will hold you in my heart. Isn't that nice? Have y'all ever felt that way? I know I have. Feeling warm and snug with love, Mr. Fish fell asleep, and he woke the next morning with exciting plans to keep. Look at here, he's got all these different things to do and places to see, camera over here. So his vacation was fantastic, full of happy and hooray. What amusing things he tried, what amazing sights he saw. Look at all these pictures. Anybody here ever gone to the beach and had pictures and seashells and maybe a little sample of the sand and so forth? So we all know what he's going through. Then he says, when his trip was finally over, he reflected on his stay, the things that he had learned and who he'd met along the way. Look here, he's coming all the way back home. Just a great sight to see. Not every single part of a trip goes swell, but the detours and the bumps are the trip as well. I'm a fish who loves to travel. I'm a fish who loves to roam. And I had a great adventure. Now it's nice to be back home. Now that's how we always like to end a vacation. So I hope this venture has been great for you as it has been for me, and I hope to see you around Prattville in the library soon.